Hello everyone to another episode of Important Locations for Map-Based Questions. This initiative has been brought to you by Aptiplus Academy for Civil Services, and my name is Shaik Datta. I'm the faculty for Geography and Environment at Aptiplus Academy for Civil Services. So in this initiative, we have been looking at the important locations which have been there in the news in the past 1 year and hence which become important for the upcoming UPSC Prelims 2020. So till now we have covered various parts of the world. For example, we have looked at South America, we have looked at Europe, we have looked at West Asia, we have looked at Central Asia, we have looked at Southeast Asia, and we have also made 2 videos on East Asia as well as South Asia. In South Asia, we will today be focusing upon India. And in India, again, we'll be having a part by part video. So today is the first part of the important locations which have been there in the news so far as India is concerned. As you might be aware that when it comes to UPSC prelims, the map-based questions which are asked, they focus both upon the world map as well as on the India map. So when it comes to the world map-based questions, mostly it is from current affairs. Similarly, when it comes to India map-based questions, we get to see that questions will be asked from both current affairs as well as your knowledge about the India map, how well you remember the India map. Anyway, so let us start our session for today on the important locations from India which have been in the news in the past 1 year. The first part that we'll be looking at, let me just increase the width. Yeah, so the first part that we'll be looking at is Mamallapuram, the first place. It is Mamallapuram, also called as Mahabalipuram. So Mamallapuram or Mahabalipuram is the first place that we'll be looking at. Now, why this Mamallapuram or Mahabalipuram was there in the news? First of all, we have to look at where this particular place is located, Mamallapuram or Mahabalipuram. It is situated on the Coromandel coast in the northeastern Tamil Nadu coast along the Bay of Bengal. So as you might be aware that the Tamil Nadu coast is also referred to as the Coromandel coast. All of you would be aware about Indian physical geography and that too the physiographic divisions of India. In case of the physiographic divisions of India, we have two coasts. One is the western coastal plain, the other is the eastern coastal plain. So when it comes to the eastern coastal plain, the Tamil Nadu coast is what is referred to as the Coromandel coast. Above the Coromandel coast in Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, that area we have the northern Sircars. That area is called as the northern Sircars. And finally, we have the Bengal coast, also called as the Utkal coast, that is Bengal, Odisha, that area is called as the Utkal coast. So Utkal coast, northern Sircars, and then we have the Coromandel coast. And similarly, if you go to the western side, from the south, you will get to see that the Malabar coast is there, which corresponds to the Kerala coast. Similarly, go above it, and there you will find the Karnataka or that Kannad coast is there, Kannad coastal plain. Goa coastal plains are also there. Above that, we have the Konkan coast, and above that, we have the Gujarat or the Kathiawar plains, the coastal area. Anyway, this is so far as the coastal plains are concerned. Right now, we are looking at the Coromandel coast, and over there we have the area which is called as Mahabalipuram or Mamallapuram. Now, this area, Mahabalipuram or Mamallapuram, it has a very rich history. It is a heritage area, it is a heritage site, and it has a very rich history. What is the history? Let's see over here. It is an ancient port town. So basically, this particular area, it is an ancient port town. Okay? It's an ancient port town, which is Mamallapuram. And over here, why this particular port town was there in the news? That is because of a summit which had taken place. The second informal summit between India and China had taken place over here on the 4th of October 2019. So over here we get to see the ancient port town of Mamallapuram. It is in the final stages. So this is actually a cutting from newspaper which I have put over here. So the ancient port town of Mamallapuram, it is in the final stages of a makeover ahead of the scheduled visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping during a 2-day India-China informal summit which took place from October 11th. Mamallapuram near Chennai, it was a crucial town connecting India with Southeast Asia, including China, from the Pallava period, and it has been put under a lot of security blankets. So this little bit of cutting is from a newspaper which I have put over here, and the second informal summit between India and China had taken place in Mahabalipuram or Mamallapuram, which is situated on the coast of or the Coromandel coast of Tamil Nadu. Okay. Now let us know in greater details. And what is the heritage part or the historical aspect connected to Mamallapuram. We get to see Mamallapuram, which is near Chennai. It was a very crucial town which connected India with Southeast Asia. A lot of trade used to take place. So it was a crucial town which connected India with Southeast Asia, including China, from the Pallava period itself. And we get to see that this was the area where the reception of the Chinese President Xi Jinping had taken place at the second informal summit between India and China. Then the immediate question will be, okay, where did the first informal summit between India and China take place? The first informal summit, so October 2019 was the time when the second informal summit had taken place between India and China. The first informal summit between India and China, it took place at Wuhan. And now you must be very well aware or very familiar with this particular area, Wuhan. Wuhan is a part of, or it is a city in the Hubei province of China. So the first informal summit had taken place in April 2018 between India and China at Wuhan, which is a city of the Hubei province. And the second informal summit took place at Mamallapuram or Mahabalipuram near Chennai. Now, where exactly is it located? Here. This is the location of Mamallapuram or Mahabalipuram. So you can understand that due to its coastal location, this area, it was an ancient port town and it was used for trading purposes with countries of Southeast Asia, including China. Next up. What are the other importances of this area? The other importance being that it is an example of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is an UNESCO World Heritage Site and it contains 7th to 8th century Hindu monuments over here. It is an important religious place for the Hindus and it was built by the Pallava king. What is the name? Narasimha Varman I. Very, very important. These little factoids you should be aware of. These are small facts from which UPSC can frame a lot of questions. Mamallapuram, you have understood. Second informal summit between India and China, you have understood. First informal summit between India and China took place in Wuhan in April 2018. That also you have understood. What you should now remember is this. Okay, this Mahabalipuram or Mamallapuram, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So UNESCO World Heritage Site, what type of World Heritage Site? Cultural World Heritage Site. So as you might be aware that UNESCO, it announces this World Heritage Sites, and under the World Heritage Sites, there are 3 categories of heritage sites. One, which we call as the cultural heritage sites, for example, Mahabalipuram or Mamallapuram. Similarly, you also have the natural World Heritage Sites as well. For example, there are many, there are around 7 natural World Heritage Sites in India. For example, we have Kaziranga, we have Sundarbans, we have Manas National Park. These are some examples, Keoladeo Ghana. These are all examples of natural World Heritage Sites announced by UNESCO, which are from India. Similarly, there is only one single such World Heritage Site in India, which has both cultural importance as well as natural importance. And hence, it is called as a World Mixed Heritage Site. So there is only one UNESCO World Mixed Heritage Site in India, and that is Kanchenjunga National Park. Please remember, only one World Mixed Heritage Site in India, that is Kanchenjunga National Park. It was announced in 2016 because it has both historical as well as natural significance. By the way, now coming back to this Mamallapuram, it has 7th to 8th century Hindu monuments over here, and hence it is an important religious place for the Hindus. Who built it? The name is very, very important. Please remember the name. It was built by the Pallava king, and the name is Narasimha Varman I. Narasimha Varman I. That is the name of the Pallava king who had built the temples over here at Mamallapuram. Now, a little bit regarding Narasimha Varman I. Narasimha Varman I was also known as Mahamalla. Mahamalla basically stands for the great wrestler. So it is not only important for you to know about Mamallapuram, but you should also be knowing about the history of Mamallapuram. So it was built by Narasimha Varman I, and Narasimha Varman I was also called as Mahamalla. Mahamalla stands for the great wrestler. It is also called as Mamallapuram or Mahabalipuram, and hence because he was called as Mahamalla, that is Narasimha Varman I, so we get to see Mamallapuram or Mahabalipuram was named after him. It was named after the person who had built it, Narasimha Varman I, and since he was also referred to as Mahamalla, So on the basis of of his name, that is Mahamalla, Mamalapuram, the name was coined. You can see. Okay. Narasimha Varman I was a devotee of Shiva. Narasimha Varman I, he was a devotee of Lord Shiva, and during his reign, famous Pancharatha temple was constructed, which is also called as Rock Cut Temple. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So over here you have a very famous temple which is called as Pancharatha temple. There are 5 raths. Okay, there are chariots, 5 chariots which look like chariots, or 5 raths, and hence it is called as Pancharatha temple. So Narasimha Varman I was a devotee of Shiva, and during his reign, the famous Pancharatha temple was constructed, which is the rock cut temple, which is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Mamalapuram, also known as Mahabalipuram, it is a town in the Chengalpattu district in the southeastern Indian state of Tamil Nadu. So, which is the district where it is located? Chengalpattu district of Tamil Nadu. And it is best known for this UNESCO World Heritage Site of the 7th and 8th century, and the Hindu group of temples, the Hindu group of monuments which are found over here. So this Mahabalipuram area is best known for the ancient rock cut temples, and how ancient they were formed, or they were created in the 7th, 8th centuries. Who created them? Narasimha Varman I, who was a Pallava king. Okay, next. Not only that, but we also get to see Mamalapuram was one of the 2 major port cities during the 7th century within the Pallava kingdom. Okay, it was a very, very important port city as well. A lot of trade used to take place from this area, Mamalapuram or Mahabalipuram. Also, we get to see, along with economic prosperity, it became the site of a group of royal monuments, many carved out of living rocks. These are dated to the 7th and 8th centuries. For example, rathas, that is temples in the form of chariots. Also, we had mandapas. What are mandapas? These are cave sanctuaries. Okay. Also, we get to see the giant open air rock relief, that is the descent of the Ganges. So you have a sculpture over here which is called as the descent of the Ganges. Also, we get to see the Shore temple is also located over here. So a number of very, very famous ancient rock cut temples are located over here. That is at Mamalapuram. For example, you have the descent of the Ganges, which is like an open air sculpture, you can say. You have the Pancharatha temple. Ratha means chariots. Mandapas are also located over here, and also we get to see the Shore temple is also located over here. And all these temples, all these monuments, all these sculptures, they are dedicated to whom? They are dedicated to Shiva, Durga, Vishnu, Krishna, and other gods and goddesses. Okay, so mainly we get to see the deities who were dedicated, or these temples were dedicated to which deities? Shiva, Durga, Vishnu, Krishna, and the rest of the gods and goddesses. The the town plan that we have today at Mamalapuram or Mahabalipuram. So the contemporary town plan, it was established by whom? By the British Raj in 1827. Another name by which Mamalapuram has been known to the mariners. What is meant by mariners? Mainly the people who sail ships. Okay. So another name by which Mamalapuram has been known to mariners, at least since the time of Marco Polo, is called as Seven Pagodas. This is another term, very, very important. Remember, this is another term which is used for the same place, that is Mahabalipuram, that is 7 pagodas, and it has been used by the sailors who came over here. Why? Because it is referring to the 7 pagodas of Mamalapuram that stood on the shore, of which one is the Shore temple, and that is the only one which survives. So earlier there used to be 7 such temples which used to be there on the shore. And looking at those 7 temples, the name 7 pagodas was coined. But now out of those 7, only one is remaining, and that is the Shore temple. Okay. Also, we get to see that Mamalapuram, it had Chinese connection, and hence it was chosen as the location for reception of Xi Jinping, the Chinese president. Right? So that is why this particular town was decided upon as the location. Also, we get to see that the Pallava kings, they had trade and defense relations with the Chinese, and this relation would keep in check Tibet from growing into a very powerful nation of that era. So mainly the Chinese and the Pallava kings, they collaborated in order to ensure that Tibet does not become extremely powerful. Also, we get to see Bodhidharma, which is a very famous and popular monk in China, and he was believed to be the third son of a Pallava king who had traveled from Kanchipuram via Mamallapuram to China around 527 AD. So, who was Bodhidharma? Remember the name Bodhidharma? He was a very famous and a popular monk of China. Now, what is the connection with India of Bodhidharma? Bodhidharma was believed to be the third son of a Pallava king, and this Pallava king, he had traveled from Kanchipuram via Mamallapuram to China in 527 AD. So that is the way in which India and China got connected through Mamallapuram or Mahabalipuram. So this is with regards to Mamallapuram and Mahabalipuram and the second informal summit between India and China. Moving on to the next place which was there in the news, that is New Delhi. And New Delhi was in the news because it was the location, it was the site for the 14th conference of parties of UNCCD. What does UNCCD stand for? UNCCD stands for the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. The United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. What is meant by a convention? Convention का मतलब होता है कि an agreement. It is like an agreement. So we get to see that there is an agreement, a global treaty, which is called as the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. What is meant by desertification? Desertification is basically a term which is used to indicate the extension of the desert into those areas where a desert did not used to exist previously. So when due to soil erosion or due to land degradation, धीरे-धीरे हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि areas where a desert never used to exist before, those areas are also showing the signs of turning into a desert. Then we say desertification is taking place, extension of a desert. And we have a convention which basically tries to ensure that desertification does not become very, very rapid. What will happen then if the rate of desertification that increases, automatically we'll get to see fertile land will ultimately turn into a desert, and that will pose a lot of problems to food security, that will pose a lot of problems to employment, you can say. Also there will be financial difficulties, famines, and all these things will take place. Especially we get to see in the poor and developing countries, desertification, soil erosion, land degradation is a big issue. So what is meant by conference of parties? Conference of party basically implies that those countries which had ratified or which had agreed to this particular treaty, they will be meeting together. So parties to a convention, basically what is meant by party to a convention? Parties to a convention basically means those countries who agree to a particular convention, who agree to a particular treaty. When I say conference of parties, that means that these parties or these countries, they will be meeting together. When I say COP14 of UNCCD had taken place in New Delhi, that means that it was the 14th summit. It was the 14th summit or the 14th meeting of those countries who had signed or ratified the UNCCD agreement. Okay, so the 14th time these countries were meeting, they were meeting for the 14th time at New Delhi. And it was also the first time, that India was hosting a conference of parties of UNCCD, and ultimately this resulted in the New Delhi Declaration. What is meant by New Delhi Declaration? That is a result of this particular meeting. Whenever a meeting is held, something has to come out of it, right? Some decisions need to be taken over there. And those decisions were in the form of the report, you can see. That report is what is called as the New Delhi Declaration. So here I have put an infographics. This was the logo for the COP14 which had taken place. Okay, this is the logo. So let us quickly go through this infographics. The 14th conference of the parties to the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. When did it take place? It took place around 2nd to the 13th of September 2019 at New Delhi in India. UNCCD is the sole legally binding international agreement linking environment and development to sustainable land management. What is meant by sustainable land management? That is, you are managing land in such a manner that it does not get degraded very soon, in a sustainable manner. Okay? So UNCCD is the sole, it is the only legally binding international agreement which links environment and development to sustainable land management. COP14 is aiming to help countries achieve land degradation neutrality by delivering tools and resources that are fit for purpose. Reversing land degradation and its outcomes while accelerating positive achievements for people and for ecosystems with a view to deliver on the Sustainable Development Goals. That is the core agenda. That was the core agenda for COP14 of UNCCD. Again, let us just quickly go through the core agenda. Reversing land degradation. That is, wherever land degradation has taken place, so measures will be taken to ensure that the land comes back to its original form. So reversing land degradation and its outcomes while accelerating positive achievements for people and for the ecosystems with a view to deliver on the Sustainable Development Goals was the core agenda of COP14 of UNCCD. Again, another very important thing which is asked from time to time, that is the theme. What was the theme for UNCCD? 14th summit of UNCCD. The theme was investing in land, unlocking opportunities. This is very, very important. Investing in land and unlocking opportunities. That was the theme for the 14th summit of UNCCD. Okay. Next, the conference assumes special significance for New Delhi as the problem is acute in India, with around 29% of its area being affected by desertification and land degradation. So that is why it becomes very, very crucial for India to address this issue as soon as possible, because we get to see 29% of India's land area has been affected by desertification and by land degradation. And what does India plan to do? India plans to restore 50 lakh hectares of degraded land by 2030. That is what our Honorable Minister of Environment, Mr. Prakash Javadekar, has talked about. India will be able to restore 50 lakh hectares of degraded land by 2030. So let us know a little bit regarding the summit. Around 196 countries had participated in the 14th COP of UNCCD, along with EU, that is European Union. They adopted the New Delhi Declaration. So result जो है उसको कहा जाता है New Delhi Declaration. Once again, I would just request you to go through the theme. The theme was investing in land and unlocking opportunities. Please remember the theme. Next. Now, this result, which is called as the New Delhi Declaration, what does it mainly talk about? This declaration, it had raised the ambitious target of restoring land with people first approach. What is meant by people first approach? Whenever land restoration is taking place, the first priority would be to ensure that the people are taken care of, their needs and their requirements, that is also taken care of. If you look at the structure of UNCCD, this is the structure of UNCCD. Let us just go through the structure, the objective, the principles, etc. Number one, what is the objective of UNCCD? As you can see in this infographics, the objective is to combat desertification in countries which experience serious droughts and desertification, and to mitigate the effects of drought. Okay, to combat desertification in countries which experience serious droughts and desertification. What is meant by drought? Drought is a long period when there is very less or almost no rainfall taking place. So such kind of a period, very dry period, very arid period, when almost no rainfall or very little amount of rainfall is taking place, तब जाके उसको drought period कहा जाता है. So main objective of UNCCD is to combat desertification in countries which experience serious droughts and desertification, and to mitigate the effects of drought. Especially we get to see that UNCCD focuses on Africa, because Africa is such a country जहाँ पे or such a continent जहाँ पे हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि drought, famines, malnutrition, etc. This is very, very rampant. And also, of course, it is necessary to prevent desertification from taking place in Africa, because that will lead to further poverty, further malnutrition, etc. Now, how does it play? How does it play its role? How does it intend to achieve its objectives? Through participation, implementation, and cooperation by all the stakeholders. Next, improvement of partnership and coordination on both local and international levels. Third, by special consideration to be taken for the least developed countries. So, least developed country के लिए special consideration is taken by UNCCD. Okay, so this is regarding UNCCD. We'll look at a third state or third place from India which was there in the news, and that is Talcher. Now, where is Talcher? Talcher is in Orissa. Where in Orissa? So over here I have given you the location of Talcher. So this is Talcher, and see over here in the map you can locate Talcher. So you can see, okay, it is more or less a little bit away from Puri, but it is present in Odisha. Okay? Talcher is in Odisha, and Talcher was there in the news. Why was Talcher in the news? That is what we have to find out. So let's look at it. So we get to see Talcher. It was there in it is in Odisha. It is present in the district, and the name of the district is Angul. Okay, the name of the district is Angul, ANGUL, Angul district in Odisha. How far is it from Bhubaneswar? So you can see around 126 kilometers from Bhubaneswar. Okay, so आप इधर देख सकते हो. This is Puri, this is Bhubaneswar, and it is 126 kilometers in the interior part of Bhubaneswar. Why was Talcher in the news? So Talcher was in the news because we get to see the coal gasification based ammonia urea complex is being set up in India. It was in the news because coal gasification based ammonia urea complex is being set up in India. And the location of this particular complex will be in Talcher in Odisha. So remember, coal gasification based ammonia urea complex. So that is being set up at Talcher. What will it do? It will be able to produce 2,200 tons per day of ammonia and almost 3,850 tons a day of urea. The design capacity of this plant, plus also there will be byproduct of around 100 tons per day of sulfur flakes. Okay, so Talcher was in the news. Talcher is in Odisha district, Angul, around 126 kilometers from Bhubaneswar. And it was in the news because the coal gasification based ammonia urea complex, it is being set up in India, and the location is Talcher. What will it be able to do? It will be able to produce 2,200 tons per day of ammonia and also 3,850 tons of urea, plus also there will be a byproduct of around 100 tons of sulfur flakes which will be there. Okay. So this is why you should remember, okay, where is Talcher. So with this, we have looked at 3 important locations for today in this session, and we have also seen, okay, why they were in the news. We have not only seen why they were in the news, but also we have looked at the historical background of these areas, why these areas have been in the news, especially when it comes to Mamallapuram, which is again very important, because now we get to see that India and China, they are at conflict with one another, and hence this Mamallapuram or Mahabalipuram becomes very important for this year's UPSC prelims examination. So with this, we will conclude today's session, but again we'll come back with the next part of important locations for map-based questions, especially focusing upon India's map. Okay, so hope you have liked this video. Please let us know in the comment section. Also, please like and subscribe to Aptiplus's YouTube channel. Also share these videos with your other friends who are preparing for UPSC. I am sure that it will be beneficial for them. So we'll meet again in our next video with another set of locations from India which are important or which are relevant for UPSC Prelims 2020. Till then, study hard. Take care. Thank you.